Hello, Ray Phoenix here, and this is welcome to Let's Play Mega Man X4. And this is the final part, the 9th part, the final part. We're finally gonna go after the final boss. Ooh, this is gonna be, shaking in my boots. I better get out my electric guitar and play some epic music. And oh look, it's the frickin' Grim Reaper. We know how to take on the Grim Reaper. How do you fight the Grim Reaper? Anyways, how do you kill the Grim Reaper? He's death himself. In theory, if I could defeat the Grim Reaper, that would make me immortal. Wonder if I'm going to become immortal after this. Then again, we already know Sigma kind of is immortal, considering the fact he dies at the end of every game, and yet somehow he always miraculously figures out a way to get to the, to reappear in the next game. He always does it. No one ever knows what his secret is. I think the last time he finally died was in the last game. I think it's supposed to be finally dead for good. But who knows what's dead for good, considering the fact he always somehow manages to come back. I mean, the first few games it was usually, someone brought him back. But in this game, it never really says how Sigma came back for this game. We just see him at the beginning, we know he's there. It doesn't really explain how he came back or anything like that. So, all we know is, Sigma's there. I don't know, maybe the General of the Repliforce did something, or maybe Repliforce, I don't know, or maybe some other unknown entity did it. I don't know, we'll have to find out. Or, actually, no, we never do find out. It's like an unsolved mystery or something like that. So, yeah, there's all sorts of unsolved mysteries. Sometimes mysteries are better left unsolved. It's related to that thing I say a lot of the time, ignorance is bliss. Because a lot of the time, ignorance is bliss. That very well is true a lot of the time. It's better to believe a good lie, very good lie, than it is to accept an awful truth. I believe that was a quote from, I think that was like Theodore Roosevelt, I think, or someone that said that line. I forget who said it exactly. But anyways, we just defeated the first phase of the boss, pretty much. We destroyed the Reaper Sigma, and that kind of Sigma, and now we're going to fall. I believe that same background actually was used in Mega Man Extreme 2, I think it was, on the Game Boy Color. I might do LPs of those games eventually. I haven't played Mega Man Extreme in years. I think I only played for that game once, and it was like 9 years ago. I don't even remember much of Mega Man Extreme 2. I remember the original Mega Man Extreme was just Mega Man X for Game Boy Color, pretty much. And Mega Man Extreme 2 had a more original story, but it still involved a lot of the same mavericks we saw in the previous games. This final boss isn't really that hard of a final boss. It's one of the easier final bosses in the series. That is, if you're playing as Mega Man X. If you're being Zero, this final boss is, it's really difficult. This is one of the most challenging final bosses ever. If you're playing as Zero, that is. Now he's just gonna shoot a bunch of his ray gun shots at those beams, that disintegrator beam thingy, mubobber, I don't know what you call it. He's gonna have to quickly jump and shoot the plasma balls into his weak spot. And yeah, we already took out a good chunk of health, and he's gonna use those different heads. The yellow one shoots electricity, the red one shoots fire, the blue one shoots ice, it's kind of, makes kind of sense. Look at that, it's gonna do, he uses different formations sometimes too. It's very hard to predict what he's gonna do next. This boss is very unpredictable, and that's where his real challenge comes from. But like I said, he's really difficult as Zero as X. He's like a, not that difficult. That is if you know what to do, that is, and assuming you have all your upgrades. I bet if you didn't have any of your upgrades, I'm not even sure if it's possible to get this far in this game. It probably is possible to get this far in the game without any upgrades. If you're doing this without any upgrades, it would be a really big challenge. I wonder if Kevil could do this without getting hit. That Kevil guy I keep talking about, he plays these Mega Man X games without taking a hit. He could probably get through this without taking a hit. It would take a billion tries, but it'd probably take till the end of time before he could do it, but I'm sure he would. Look at that, his health is like, Sigma is like, he has several different health bars, several different health meters, several different health supply things, and different forms, and yeah, I think this is the first time we saw Sigma have, like, different health bars, or different forms, I think, or different, like, things that you're all fighting them, that you're concurrently fighting. Sometimes he just simply says, the end, and he just shoots a big ray down at you like that. Because Sigma's a bit of a, he's a coward. We know Sigma's a coward. That's why he's scared of death. Why do you think he cheats death so much? He's obviously scared of death. He's obviously really doesn't want to admit the fact that he's a big coward, a big pushover coward. And the good thing we have the best, the more ideal, X-Buster. I don't even know what the other X-Buster upgrade is. That's because I never used it before, because I heard it sucks. I actually did a lot of research on these games before I actually went and played them. I always do that usually. I do a lot of research on these games before I play them. I haven't really been doing much of that recently. Just recently I started playing that GameCube game, PK Into the Shadows on the GameCube. I recently traded a friend Metroid Prime for that game on GameCube, and I don't know anything about the game. I'm just kind of playing through the game and just seeing what it's like. Again, I didn't do any research or anything like that. It's made by Ubisoft. I think it was made by the same people that made Rayman 3. It plays a lot like Rayman 3. It's actually kind of like the precursor to Rayman 3 in a lot of ways. It's like Rayman 3, but not as good as Rayman 3. But I heard Rayman 3 on the GameCube is, definitive version. And considering they're all made by Ubisoft, I bet PK on the GameCube is probably the best version of the game. Because you know how Ubisoft seems to favor GameCube over PlayStation, right? We all know that. It's no surprise that Ubisoft likes Nintendo more than PlayStation. Why do you think Rayman Arena on the GameCube was far superior to its PS1, PS2 counterparts, PS1 and PS2 counterparts? And why do you also think Rayman 3 was superior to its PS2 counterpart on the GameCube? So, yeah, I guess we kind of liked GameCube then, and I was a fool for choosing the PS2 versions of Rayman Arena and Rayman 3. I wish I could go back to 2015 and teach myself a good lesson at that, telling myself that GameCube is the better system. Invest in GameCube. I wish I could have gone back even earlier and told everyone to invest in GameCube. And then GameCube may have lasted a lot longer. It may have been the system of the decade. It very well could have, been a really, could have lasted very long and longer than any other system there is. It could have been the best Nintendo ever. It could have outdone the Wii pretty much in considering how great GameCube was. But oh no, that didn't happen. Everyone invested in PS2 instead. Not that I'm really complaining that was a bad thing, but still, I still think the GameCube is, a really good system. I think it is. I'll admit, it's not my favorite Nintendo deep down. I think the N64 is actually my favorite Nintendo. And N64 was kind of controversial, in which back when disk systems were starting to become commonplace, Nintendo goes ahead and they make, the N64, which is still a cartridge system, and to also make it even more controversial, a lot of games with franchises we saw in the previous systems, like the SNES, and we saw like the Mega Man X games, we saw Final Fantasy. When the next era came around, those didn't get on the N64. Instead, those went to PS1, and that's why my friend's cousin didn't like the he didn't like the N64 that much, and the GameCube. He didn't like those systems that much for that very reason, because a lot of his favorite franchises didn't make it to the N64 and GameCube. Instead, they got on the PS1 and then PS2. So yeah, now as you see here, we just defeated Sigma. I don't think I needed to use that last sub-tank, but, it's good that I have this last sub-tank in there. And so we're gonna go to you see those cylinder things in the background? Looks like they're making some sort of embryo or something like that, like in Jurassic Park. And I see like a DNA strand back there too. I wonder what they were doing here. So you see the remains of the General. The General, there's a big laser that's gonna go and destroy the world, but the General's gonna sacrifice himself so everyone in the world could live in peace. So that's what true heroes do, True heroes sacrifice themselves so others could live in peace. And so I believe there's plot, so let's watch this plot.
This is Maverick Hunter Headquarters.
Zero.
It's good to see you're safe, X. I was really worried about you.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry. It's all over. Go home and rest. You've earned it.
But Zero, what if I become one of the Mavericks?
Don't ask such a silly question. I'm breaking contact now.
Wait, Zero! I'm serious. Zero, if I become a Maverick, you have to take care of me.
Don't be ridiculous. Now hurry on back.
Promise me. Zero.
And so, that's the end of Mega Man X4. Mega Man X is very concerned about, oh, what if I become a Maverick? What if I become evil? He's always concerned about turning evil. He knows he constantly has to fight the Mavericks. He says that at the end of every game. Oh, why must I fight? Why must I end everything? It's not until Mega Man X7 is when he finally does something about it. And even then, he often gets crucified for what he did in Mega Man X7, but that's a whole nother story. So yes, we're done with Mega Man X4. These are the credits. I absolutely love this ending credits music. Again, this game does have a pretty awesome soundtrack and awesome musical score. I'm glad I have a lot of this music on my computer right now, which I could use in some of my other videos. Like my next Let's Play is going to be at Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. That game's filled with copyrighted Star Wars music, which I can't use in my YouTube videos because my YouTube account will get a copyright strike if I use that. So I have to replace the soundtrack. I'm going to have to mute the soundtrack in that game and replace it with other music. I'm probably going to use music from this and other Mega Man X games and other games in general. You know what I usually do when I play Star Wars games, I usually use music from other things. Yeah, the textures in this game are really good too. I love the graphics in this game, the visual effects. The visuals in this game are really great. The artists that designed these they deserve a lot of, they don't get enough credit for this work. I think it's really good. You can see there's this thing in the background, the station in the background's being kind of blown up a bit. And there's all the names of all the people that worked in this game that poured their heart and souls into this game so they could put food on their table. And VK Production, KPM Production, Coney Production, Merrick, Maki Production, Trans Arts, there's so much people that went into this game. Again, I really think this is like my second favorite Mega Man X game. This really is a really good storyline and really good. Zero's story has even more depth. When you play as Zero, you get a different story, and it actually has even more depth. And a lot of people say that that's the definitive storyline in this game is all Zero stuff, where you find out some interesting facts about Zero and stuff we never knew before about his relation with Sigma and all that. I might do an LP of that eventually in the future, but for now, there's other things I want to Let's Play. I have other projects to work on, and, it might be a while before I get to that, if I am going to do that, but yeah, so for now, this is the end of Mega Man X4. I hope you enjoyed this Let's Play. I really did enjoy making this Let's Play. This game isn't that long either. It took me since I know this game very well, it took me maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours to run through this whole game. I could see how speedrunners could go for this game too. I've considered doing speed runs of games too, where I take out my gold Casio watch and I time myself playing through games. I timed myself playing through Disruptor once. It took me an hour and 11 minutes to get through Disruptor once. I timed how long it took me to get through Simpsons Hit and Run. It took me maybe 4 hours to get through Simpsons Hit and Run. I also timed how long it took me to get through Jumping Flash. Usually it takes me maybe depending on which mode I'm playing in. If I'm playing in regular mode, it takes maybe 20-something minutes for me to get through the first part of the game, and I still haven't really done any full proper tests with that, but I probably will get to those eventually. I think there's some more plot coming up, more storyline coming up. The battle has ended, yet somehow X doesn't feel quite right. What caused all those robots to turn into Mavericks? Will it happen to me someday? Has X just realized his tragic destiny? It appears that X will have to solve this mystery one day. Soon. How soon is soon? We're still 3.5 years or 4 years away from the next game. And so, that concludes this Let's Play. I hope you liked this Let's Play. This is Ray Phoenix, signing out.